Good evening. I am Suhana Singh, and today is day one of learning machine learning in the simplest way possible. So, first things first, what is machine learning? Machine learning, or ML for short, it is a branch of artificial intelligence, AI. Machine learning, it is a way for computers to learn from data and experience, rather than following the only instructions we provide them. Traditionally, computers do exactly what we tell them step by step. But with machine learning, we give computers lots and lots of data and it figures out its own way to solve the problems or make predictions. Now, why is machine learning important? Because some problems are just too complicated for us, for humans, to write out all the rules. For example, how would you write a rule to recognize every possible face in a photo? Or every way someone might say hello? So, machine learning is the tool that lets computers handle these complex, ever changing situations. Now, where do we see machine learning? Literally everywhere. In your phone, your email, your favorite apps, online shopping, banking, healthcare, and even in cars. I'll give you more detailed examples of them later on in the video. Now, why do we need machine learning? The limits of traditional programming. Imagine you want to build a computer program to recognize handwritten numbers. So every person, they have their own way of writing numbers, right? Some people may make their two rounder while others may make it more sharper. So if you try to write rules for every possible shape, you'd never finish. But thankfully, machine learning comes to the rescue. With machine learning, instead of writing rules, you show the computer thousands or even millions of examples of handwritten numbers and what they are. So that's the data we provide machines. And then the computer looks for patterns in these examples and learns how to recognize new unseen numbers on its own. For a real-world example, think about voice assistants like Siri or Google Assistant. People have different accents, different speech speeds, and way of saying things. So instead of programming every possible way to say set an alarm, machine learning just lets the assistant learn from millions of voice recordings so that it gets better at understanding everyone and everything that they're saying. Now, why is this so powerful? Because it means computers, they can adapt, they can improve, and they can handle new situations, just like people do when they learn from experience. Now, let me give you a simple analogy. Learning like humans. The fruit analogy. Let's say you have a friend who's never seen a fruit before. So, you show them many apples and say, this is an apple, or these are apples. And then you show them many oranges and say, these are oranges. Over time, your friend starts to notice that apples are usually red or green or, smooth and round, while oranges, they're orange and more bumpy. Right? So after that, your friend can be able to differentiate between an apple and an orange. So how does this relate to machine learning? This is exactly how machine learning works. The computer is just like your friend. It doesn't know the rules at first, but by seeing many examples, that is data, it learns to tell the difference. Other everyday learning examples include learning to ride a bike. You don't read a manual to ride a bike, do you? You get on the bike, you try, you fall, and then you learn from your mistakes. Or learning to recognize handwriting. At first, everyone's handwritings look different. Say, for example, your friend's handwriting in your class, they look different at first. But after seeing enough of it, you get better at reading it and recognizing exactly whose handwriting is that. right? So, let's see how machine learning works step by step. Step 1 is collect data. Everything starts with data. For example, if you want to teach a computer to recognize cats and dogs, you're going to be needing lots of pictures of cats and dogs, each labeled correctly, right? And step 2, learn from data. The computer uses special programs called algorithms to look for patterns in the data. For instance, it might notice that cats, they usually have pointy ears and dogs often have longer snouts or bigger noses. And step 3, make predictions or decisions. So once the computer has learned from the data that you've provided them, you can show the computer a new picture and ask, is this a cat or a dog? And the computer uses what it learned to make the best guess. And step 4, they improve over time. If the computer makes a mistake, you can correct it. The more examples and more feedbacks it gets, the better it becomes at making correct predictions. Here's a simple flowchart. Data, learning, prediction, feedback, and then improvement. Story example. Now let's say you want your phone to unlock when it sees your face. Why we do this? At first, you show it pictures of your face from different angles and different lighting, and then over time, it gets better at recognizing you. Even if you grow a beard or even if you're wearing glasses, it recognizes you and your phone unlocks. Now you may ask, why does machine learning need so much data? Because the more examples it sees, the more accurate it becomes. Just like a person who practices a lot and gets better at a skill. Now let me give you some real life examples. You can relate with them. First, we have email spam filters. Your email provider uses machine learning to decide which messages are spam and which messages are important. It learns from millions of emails and then it can differentiate what spam looks like and what real messages look like, and keeps updating its knowledge as spammers they change tactics. Next, we have movies and videos recommendations. So you see Netflix, YouTube, Spotify, these all use machine learning to suggest what you might like next. They look at what you've watched or listened to, and then it compares it to millions of other users and find patterns to recommend you similar content. Next, we have voice assistants. Voice assistants like Siri, Alexa, Google Assistant, they also use machine learning to understand your voice and get better the more you use them. They even learn your accent, your favorite commands, and even your jokes. Next is my favorite, online shopping. Amazon recommends you products by learning from your shopping history and comparing it to others. So, if you buy a phone, it might suggest you a case of headphones. Maps and navigation. Google Maps also use machine learning to predict the traffic. It collects data from thousands of users' phones and learns which roads are slow at certain times, helping you avoid traffic jams. And social media feeds. Everybody uses social media, and everybody might think that you are getting content based on what you like, based on what you comment and share. So that is machine learning too. Banking and security. Banks use machine learning to spot unusual spending patterns. So if your card is used in a new country or if they recognize a strange purchase, then machine learning can flag it as possible fraud. Now think about the last time you got a product or a movie suggestion that was just right and made you think, oh my god, this is what I was looking for. Yeah, that was probably just machine learning working behind the scenes, BTS. Now, here are some common misconceptions that people might have. So machine learning, it's not magic. Sometimes, people think that machine learning is like science fiction. Sometimes people might think, oh my god, how are the data that we're getting on our phones so similar to our real life experiences? So let me tell you, it's really just computers finding patterns in data. Machine learning is not perfect. If you give computer bad data, it will learn the wrong things, right? For example, if you show pictures of white cats and black dogs only, it might think that color is the only difference between cats and dogs. And machine learning doesn't think like humans. Machine learning can't understand meanings or have feelings. It just learns from the data that it's given. Now here are the key points and a recap of whatever we did today in day 1. So machine learning is a way for computers to learn from data. Data is the key word here. Not by being programmed for every detail. They just learn from data. That's what machine learning simply is. And now you know that machine learning is everywhere, making our lives easier in ways we often don't even notice. The more data, the more feedback machine learning systems get, the better they become. Machine learning is powerful, but it's not magic or it's not even perfect. Thank you. That's it for day 1. See you tomorrow in day 2.